Hey gang, DVD collector, back in the movie room, and you are on Horoscope 101. Of course, well, I'm James. How you doing? But anyway, this week is Favorites Week, and that can be interpreted in a bunch of different ways. There's no way I can do my favorite horror movie because I've already reviewed it this past year, and my second one was just recently, so excuse me. What I decided to do was pick a genre in horror and do my favorite of that. And my favorite genre in horror movies are monster movies. I love the creature features. They are definitely my favorite, hands down. And amongst all those, my favorite is The Creature from the Black Lagoon. But I've just recently done that one too on Horoscope. So I went with what I believe is the most perfect of the monster movies ever made, and that is Frankenstein. So, of course, comes in this luscious Blu-ray box set, Claire. Looky there, Claire. With, of course, a booklet and postcards. I'm not going to bother digging the DVDs out of this, but here is the postcard of Mr. Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. Karloff. Did I say Karloff? It's Karloff. But anyway, good old Frankie. Got some I was trying to make a Universal like shadow box the other day, but everything I have is just too big. Like here's a couple things that I had. Oh, Chucky just fell. Anyway, I was playing around with some stuff. This is a Burger King Frankenstein toy from like the early 80s. That I have, and then of course this is the Marvel Select Boris Karloff. Where did I keep putting a T on the end of that for? A Boris Karloff Frankenstein figure from Marvel Select. But I never got finished with that, so that's a work in progress. But right now we're going to talk about Frankenstein. This movie has meant so much to me over the years. It's actually my son's favorite horror movie. He's not a big horror buff. He's only 7, but he loves the Universal monsters, and I'm so glad that he's fell in love with them at such an early age. I didn't find the Universal stuff until much later. I was in my 20s probably before I started really paying attention to those. You know, oh, they're black and white, man, that sucks, that kind of shit. But I've grown and I've become wise in my old age, and I've decided that the classics are where it's at. You know, I would trade any high budget, you know, bullshit movie out there for these kind of classics any day. Especially the Universal monsters. Now, they didn't do every Universal monster. They did, or every Universal monster movie. They did 8 movies in here. And the highlight to this box set for me was, I don't have a 3D TV, but the Creature from the Black Lagoon in this box set is in regular 2D, and it's also in 3D, which I would love to see, but I don't have the capabilities to do that. And one of the selling points to me in this was it did have the Spanish Dracula on it, and it also had Phantom of the Opera, which was a plus for me. I have all the Universal Monster Legacy sets, which have more movies. This is a good set. Now, Frankenstein, let me tell you, for a movie from the 30s, this movie, they did some really good restoration on this. This movie looked beautiful, spectacular, from beginning to end. And it's a perfect movie for me. I love this. There's so many different versions of Frankenstein with Hammer horror, Young Frankenstein. Of course, there's 4 or 5 Frankenstein movies from Universal. Just a great movie. And while I do tend to like The Creature better, but it's just because that movie has always intrigued me. I love water. I love anything to do with movies to do with about water, creatures from water. I'm a total shark nerd, and when it comes to The Creature, as you can see right behind me, well, there's Universal Monster posters all over this room, but that's the big guy for me, which I have his Right here too. But anyway, let's talk about Frankenstein for a little bit and what this means. Frankenstein's basically a book written by Mary Shelley about a creature. And basically, the humans' own need to be God, to play God, and what the repercussions of playing God will get you. And that's this abomination known as the creature in the movies. Such a powerful movie. And one of my favorite scenes from this movie is where he kills a little girl. I've read so much stuff on this and seen so much archive footage and interviews, and I just that was such a hard scene for Boris Karloff to film, and such a powerful turn for him. You know, thinks he's playing, he kills her, he realizes what he's done, and at that point he just turns. That's when he goes back to the castle and wreaks havoc. But in this movie we see such great acting, such great costume design, and this quintessentially becomes Frankenstein. Everything you ever see with Frankenstein's name on it, around Halloween, posters, pictures, little tiny toys, you know, whatever, they all are from that version, that view of Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. It's just, as far as horror goes, could you imagine? This movie even had an attachment to the beginning of it warning you that this may be disturbing to you, this may be frightening, too frightening for you when you watch it. And that's on this Blu-ray, by the way. Just such a great movie, every aspect of this movie. Karloff plays this creature so well. It's just I don't even know, I'm even lost for words about this movie. This doesn't happen to me often, but this movie's just meant so much to me over the years. This whole Universal Monster set of movies, I've watched them so many times, and I've read Frankenstein and Dracula a few times, and they really capture the essence of this monster. You really feel for the creature, and this goes on and on in my mind about my love for in comic books. My very first love of comics was the Incredible Hulk, and as you look back on the Hulk, I still read to this day. It's the only, well, the Hulk, Spider-Man, and Superman are the only three comic books that I have read religiously since I was 5 years old. So we're talking, you know, 35, 34 years of me reading these books. And the Hulk, that inner struggle with his creature, you know, we find that in every single one of us every day. Anybody that deals with any anger, if you say you don't deal with anger, you're just full of crap. But that inner demon inside you, and it plays off of Frankenstein as the, you know, he's basically the monster that the doctors created because of his own greed and such. And then, you know, with Banner and the Hulk, that he deals with that monster, and it's his own creation, it's his own inner anger, and it's just, it's good to me. I have a huge anger problem. I've always been able to get angry that fast, and movies like this really hit home to me. And I don't know, I've always enjoyed stuff like this. But anyway, that's Frankenstein. I hope to review more of these. I was hoping to do a whole sequence of the Universal Monsters, but I think I'll just probably hit them during the Horoscope channel on different things. We started off the Horoscope with our first week as being Universal Monster Week, because that's where horror started for me and so many of the other fans out there. Now it's all blood and guts and slashers, and don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. I love the horror genre to death. But when you get down to the basics and you find a well-written movie, a well-written script, and a well-written story that means something to somebody, you'll find it in this box set. And you'll find it so many times. Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and the Creature are amongst the best. Invisible Man. I mean, there's always so much torture and anguish in these movies, and you always feel sorry for the monster. I mean, they're monsters. with the exception of Dracula, but you can still see his inner struggles of what he is. But especially the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, and the Creature. The Creature just wanted to be left alone. But anyway, guys, I'll leave you guys alone. I'm just rambling at this point because I really don't know what to say. Everybody's seen this movie. It means different things to different people. I know that this movie was actually on my list of top 10 the perfect movies ever made, and this was on my list, and it would continue to stay on my list. And it was a fight to not put Dracula on there too, because that is one of my favorites as well. So if you haven't seen it, please go see it. Definitely, if you have this box set, check out the Spanish version of Dracula. It's very intriguing. And just remember, it's alive! Later, guys.